Today I want to talk about this plant here. This plant is extremely cute. I actually was drawn to it because of the Chinese characters for the name. The kanji for the name is yuugirisou, and yu is evening and kiri is mist, and then so is flower or grass. So um, the actual kanji are very pretty kanji when they're put together. And when you actually look at the flower, I don't know if you can see, it's a lovely purple and it looks a bit like a firework. And the leaves are a nice dark green, which I don't have a lot of in my garden. So I bought 4 of these, and they flower, so it's supposed to flower right until the end of autumn. I need to put them in the ground because I'm very, very bad with pots and keeping things healthy. Things do a lot better even in this heat if I get them in the ground. So I'm going to try and plant this tomorrow morning. I have 4 and I'm going to plant them in 2 groups of 2. I looked at some English websites and it seems that very well draining soil is preferred, and they recommended a rockery. And I actually have some quite big rocks that have come up from a bed that I'm preparing elsewhere. So I'm going to try and make a small rockery inside one of my beds for 2 of the plants, and then the other 2 I'm just going to dig out the soil I have at the moment and put in some freer draining soil and see if I can get them to survive. It's almost September, so I'm hoping there'll be less monsoon type rain in the next few months. We get a couple of typhoons at this time of the year, but I'm hoping we won't get the horrific rain that we've had in the last few weeks, and the flowers will survive the winter and overwinter, and then from spring to autumn next year I'll have some of these beautiful flowers. I might even try to take some cuttings if I can, just to hedge my bets.
Good morning. I've been stood here as I prep getting my things together, trying to decide where to put these beautiful plants. A lot of the problem is there are other plants that are going to be moved later on towards the end of next month. So I'm trying to work out where will be the best place. I want to keep them quite near the front because towards the back the soil is definitely more clay-like. So I'm guessing I'm going to put them towards the front. Cut back the sage that's behind here, and I think I'm going to put 2 of them here in the front. This coneflower, echinacea, is also going to be moved. It's a lovely bright orange, but it's almost a red, and this bed is supposed to be oranges and purples and pinks and yellows, so it doesn't quite go. So that one is going to get moved to a back bed. So I think here is a good place for the first one. One of the big problems about this area here is there are a lot of spring bulbs at the front of this bed, but I also know that the soil is much better here, so I'm going to give it a go and dig in, and not so deep because I'm planning to raise this up with a few of these bigger stones that I found elsewhere in the garden, and make a little extra raised bed for these 2 plants. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I can dig quite deeply without hitting the clay at the sides, and I think I'm going to be able to put some perlite, not quite sure that is in English, in there to make the soil a bit more free draining before I put most of the soil back and then start building up a little bit in this area. So maybe perlite in English. So this is ridiculously light. I actually put a lot of this in this bed along with a lot of sawdust to try and make the soil a bit better as I was building it. you don't actually come across a lot when you're putting in new flowers, so I'm not sure it had that much use, but it does work in the short time, and hopefully it'll be enough to get these plants established. I've added the perlite and some of just normal soil, and I'm gonna just dig it all into this area and then try and arrange some of these rocks around, well, big stones around this area. With all good plans, I've decided not to add the stones around this area but use them in another place, and I'm just going to put the plants straight into this soil. It's actually quite deep, and the area is reasonably good around it, so fingers crossed that it won't get too waterlogged just here. I'm going to remove the leaves that are a bit old and take off the flowers and give it a bit of a haircut, and all 4 of the others. Then I'm going to put them in the soil and give them a water. I do love this flower. It's like tiny little stars, and they really do look like fireworks. When I took them out of the pot, I realized it's double potted with this here to stop waterlogging, and they've put this one on top. So I'm really hoping my soil is going to be all right. There's only one way to find out. They're in. I'm just going to give them a bit of a water. I did water them last night, and so they don't need a lot of water, but I'm just going to water them in, and then put a little bit of leaf mulch on the top, and fingers crossed they'll have some flowers coming, so hopefully at least I'll get a few flowers. For the second 2 lots of plants, I've decided to be a bit ruthless and pull up some of these zinnia and sage that I have self-planted basically. I divided the sage, and I have some over there, and I have some actual pure purple one here. I really don't need that one, and the zinnia is crazy. There are about 10-15 plants in here, so I'm gonna just dig a space here for my new plants. This has been found without sacrificing too many of the zinnias, and my orange coneflowers, echinacea, are here too, so that should look nice with the purple. To excuse the traffic, it's drop-off time and I live near 2 big schools. Very hard to show on camera, probably because the soil is brown, but this soil is nowhere near as good as the soil previously. It's quite thick with clay and is quite hard to dig into, so I'm going to try the rock thing. I'm going to try and make this a little bit more free draining underneath, and then raise this area up a little bit and see what we can do. This area is actually the place where flowers go to die. I put in a pink hydrangea here, and hopefully that will get quite big, so I'll give it plenty of space. Everything else around it is just a placeholder really for when the hydrangea gets a bit bigger, but I think about here will be okay for the next couple of years. I'm mixing in the perlite and the topsoil now. So these are the stones that I've found in my garden that I think will be big enough to hold a bit of soil. This is probably not ideal, and it's probably not going to work, but we'll give it a go. If anyone has more experience about rockeries, please let me know. It's some bone meal and some normal soil, topsoil, and some of the perlite as well into there. So it's quite a light soil. Hopefully the plants will approve. They're in, they're raised, the soil is light. Now just keep your fingers crossed. So I've tidied up and just cycling back one more time to look at the plants. We have these 2 here in my, wait for the motorbike, kind of rockery. This stone here is actually just a big lump of cement that got wet in the bag. And then further on are the other two that I put directly in the soil because I thought they may get away with it just there where that soil is. We'll see. So this is the middle of quite a long bed. The top part needs totally redoing. I have a problem with moles in that section, and some things are just crowding out other things. So that place needs a whole lot of redoing. This section is doing quite well, and I haven't replanted anything yet. I am a bit worried about that buddleia. It looks terrible. I might need to do something about that. Yes, so I'll keep you updated, and we'll see how the yuugirisou, or throatwort in English, get on.